What's up, boxing fans? This is the Rope-A-Dope Report. I'm your host, Chris Carlson. This is a prediction video for the Manny Pacquiao versus Antonio Margarito fight in Cowboy Stadium in Texas, November 13th. It's got a nice little undercard. I just did a video, Mike Jones against Jesus Soto Carras. Also, Guillermo Rigondeaux, or I've heard that Rigondeaux. I've heard that name said a bunch. We all know who it is. Rigondeaux, however you want to say his last name. He's fighting Cordoba. So I think that's a nice little step-up fight for him. Anyway, let's focus on this fight. Manny Pacquiao coming off a really good performance. Clottey ruined the fight as far as being able to watch it and enjoy it the whole time, but it definitely wasn't Manny Pacquiao's fault. In the fight, he threw at least 12 or 1,300 punches, so he was active. Once again, he did show some vulnerability to get hit with a jab and a right hand, and Clottey did bang up his eyes a little bit, but overall, Clottey just didn't come to fight. And he had no answer. He's a guy that sits there in that shell, but isn't really a counterpuncher. He lets you get off, and then he gets off. You get off. You got to counterpunch in time, Pacquiao, or else it's going to be a long evening, and it was. Clottey didn't win one round. Maybe one round? Anyway, Antonio Margarito, we all know about him. I'm not really happy about him getting this fight. I'll just be honest with you. He was caught, we all know, against Mosley with plaster of Paris in his wrap. Then he was suspended for a year. I don't think he was active for 15 months at least. He got knocked out by Mosley. Then he wasn't active. He came back against Garcia, I think his last name is. And, looked rusty, of course he would. And now he gets this big fight. And, it bugs me for that reason. Because it's a Bob Arum fighter, and he's keeping it in-house. And I really wish Manny Pacquiao, although he tried to get Floyd Mayweather for November 13th, that's for sure. So I'm not blaming that. But I just think that there was someone better at 147. And if you're going to go to 154, I just don't believe Margarito. What has Margarito done at 154? He doesn't really have a great track record there. And I just don't think he deserves it. He doesn't have a big win to get back in the picture. It's at 154. I think it's a catch weight for 150. It's for a vacant belt. So it's just kind of a mess. But let's get into styles. We all know the brawler, the come-forward type guy in Antonio Margarito. He can take a shot, and he can keep coming. And he does throw a jab. Most come-forward brawlers, they don't necessarily set up their shots, and he does throw a pretty good jab. He likes to double and triple up on his punches. He'll be up there with the uppercut and do it 3 times. He goes to the body. Obviously, the classic matchup, Margarito and Cotto. We don't know exactly if Margarito had the plaster in his hands for that fight. Who knows? I think he did, but, it is what it is. If you look at Cotto's face, he had a bunch of little mini bruises. It just looked different. It's like this whole area was just bleeding, and you just don't see that much, so it makes me think he did have it. But anyway, either way, he's a come-forward fighter. He can be outboxed. He can be outspeed. He's definitely a slow fighter. Manny Pacquiao, a guy that's improved a lot. He's a two-handed fighter now. He's got a jab. He's got a right hook. He's gotten a lot better in general at his in-and-out footwork and angles. He used to just really try to land that big left hand and always get into a brawl, and now it's just a bunch of flurries, in and out, using different angles, in and out, and he loves the combo still. He actually has an uppercut that he's starting to get going a little more. I just think in general he's just the best offensive fighter out there. Hands down. Nobody's a better offensive fighter than Manny Pacquiao. And no one's more exciting than him, too. He's a great, fun fighter to watch, and he's a great fighter. There's no doubt about it. In this fight, let's see what happens, because Mosley was able to use his speed, and Mosley, when a guy comes to him, and he can just get off on him and hold him, get off on him, it's really easy for him. Now, Manny Pacquiao doesn't really hold. He's not a holder, so he doesn't use that as a strategy, which is fun to watch, but, At times, you may have to do that when you fight. So it'll be interesting to see if he really wants to go for the kill early, or if he's trying to get his punches off and then dip out of there and punch off, dip out of there, and see what happens and set up those big shots. That's what I'm kind of interested to see. I think he can take his power. He's taking other power. He's taking Cotto's power. You know, he's taking some punches at this weight class now. Although, I shouldn't say that because it's not at 147. It is a higher weight class. And he's going for his 8th belt, which I think it's one of those things where it's a catchweight thing again where, you know, you're going for a 154 belt, but I believe the weight has to be 150. But you're getting a belt, a vacant belt. You know, it really doesn't mean anything. And not only that, but you're not fighting the best 154 pounder. You're not even fighting the top 5 guy at 54, technically, because Margarito hasn't done anything at 54, really. And even if he hasn't done anything in the last, 2 years there, or more than that, actually. So it's one of those things that if Pac fights a little more patient and smart like he has been, and just use his ability, his speed, his stamina, all that type of thing to just get in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, and slowly wear him down, I think you'll beat him fairly easily. Now we're gonna see if it gets into a scenario where he's getting off on him, Pacquiao getting off on Margarito, but Margarito's not able to land punches, and then it becomes a boring fight, for visually. And I think that if the crowd gets behind him, Manny, you never know. He may try to brawl. He may stand right in front and try to go. I doubt it, though, because he didn't do it with Clottey. He kept throwing punches. And I think overall, I am interested and curious about him handling his punch, because Margarito can punch, and he's a wear-you-down type of guy, though, So it's going to be interesting to see him, a guy stalking him over and over again. But because Cotto was able to hit him with a bunch of punches, and he's got good hand speed, but he doesn't have that elite hand speed. So it's going to be interesting to see him, how Margarito also can take Manny Pacquiao's speed shot, and the ones you don't see, You could see that against Mosley. He got hit a bunch and knocked down a handful of times. He just got hit with so many shots, and a lot of it just had to do with speed and hiding that right hand that Mosley had. And so I am intrigued a little bit about the matchup. I just don't think it's worthy because of Margarito's situation where he hasn't had a big win in a while, and the whole suspension thing, and what has he done at this weight class. And I just think it's a cheap way to get a title, to be honest with you, because you could fight someone better at 154 than Margarito, but it is what it is. It's happening. There's nothing we're gonna do about it. So I have Manny Pacquiao, and I have him in a decision or a late TKO style, like 9th, 10th round type thing. Kind of like the Shane fight. It'll be interesting to see a style of someone coming forward and seeing what Manny's going to do as far as getting his shots off and move, or is he just going to stand there and trade? I'm not sure. But I know that the speed and the footwork will be very, very tough for Margarito to deal with. So I'm going to go with Manny Pacquiao, and I'm going to go with a late TKO KO thing or a decision. Anyway, this has been the Rope-A-Dope Report. I'm your host, Chris Carlson. Make sure you check out ropeadoperadio.com. All right, peace.